Have you ever noticed how one small comment can completely change your mood? Someone says something simple. Maybe they criticize your work. Maybe they make a joke about you. Maybe they don't reply the way you expected. And suddenly, your mood changes. You become quiet. You start thinking about what they said. Then you replay the conversation again and again. Why did they say that? What did they mean? Maybe they don't respect me. And sometimes, hours later, you're still thinking about a conversation that lasted less than a minute. But here's the interesting part. Psychology suggests that the real problem may not always be what the other person said. Sometimes, it's what their words made you feel about yourself. Imagine you've spent weeks working on something important. You've put in effort. You've made mistakes. You've improved. And then someone looks at your work and points out one mistake. Logically, you know it's only one mistake. But emotionally, that one mistake suddenly becomes everything. You forget about all the things you did right. Your brain focuses completely on the criticism. Why? Because criticism can feel like a threat to the way you see yourself. And when your self-image feels threatened, your emotional reaction can become much stronger than the actual situation. That's why two people can hear the exact same comment and react completely differently. One person laughs. Another person becomes angry. The difference isn't always the comment. It's the meaning each person gives to it. And sometimes, the reason a comment hurts is because it touches an insecurity you already have. Imagine someone tells you, "You're not good enough." If you completely believe in yourself, you might ignore it. But if you've secretly asked yourself that same question before, their words can hit much harder because they didn't create the insecurity. They simply touched something that was already there. That's why certain comments stay in your mind for days. You keep replaying them. You analyze their tone. You wonder whether they were right. And eventually, you may realize that you're not really angry at them anymore. You're fighting with a doubt inside yourself. So the next time someone's words really upset you, ask yourself, am I angry because they were unfair? Or because their words touch something I'm already insecure about? That question can completely change the way you understand your emotions. There's another thing we often do when we're hurt. We don't always like admitting that something hurt us. Saying "that hurt my feelings" can make us feel vulnerable. So instead, our brain creates a stronger story. They disrespected me. They were trying to embarrass me. They did it on purpose. Sometimes that's exactly what happened. But sometimes, we're turning an emotional reaction into a story about the other person's intentions. For example, someone doesn't reply to your message. That's the fact. They didn't reply. But your brain might immediately say, "They're ignoring me. They don't respect me. They're doing it intentionally." Now the situation has become much bigger. The original event was simple, but your interpretation added anger, rejection, and frustration. This is why emotional intelligence isn't about never getting angry. It's about learning to separate what happened from what you think happened. Now think about your identity. Maybe you're known as the intelligent person. Maybe you're the successful one. Maybe you're the strong one. Maybe you're the person who always knows what to do. These identities can feel good. But there's a hidden problem. If your entire self-worth depends on one quality, anything that threatens that quality can feel like an attack on your whole identity. If you believe you must always be intelligent, admitting that you don't know something can feel embarrassing. If you believe you must always be strong, admitting that you're struggling can feel uncomfortable. If you believe you must always succeed, failure can feel like a personal attack. But you're more than one mistake. You're more than one failure. You're more than your job. You're more than someone's opinion. And the bigger your sense of self becomes, the less power one negative comment has over you. So what can you actually do when someone says something that triggers you? The first thing is simple. Don't react immediately. You can't always control the first emotional reaction. Your brain may react before you have time to think, but you can control what happens next. When you feel that sudden anger, pause. Don't immediately send the message. Don't immediately insult them back. Don't make an important decision while you're emotionally overwhelmed. Give yourself time to think. Then ask yourself, what actually happened? Not what you assumed, not what you imagined. What actually happened? Then ask, what story am I creating about this situation? Maybe they really were being disrespectful. Or maybe they were tired. Maybe they misunderstood you. Maybe they didn't even realize how their words sounded. You don't have to assume the worst immediately. And then ask one final question. Does this really deserve so much of my emotional energy? Because not every comment deserves your anger. Not every disagreement needs to become an argument. And not every opinion deserves control over your mood. You should also become selective about whose opinions you value. There will always be people who criticize you. Some will understand you. Some won't. Some will genuinely want to help. Others may simply be projecting their own insecurities. You don't have to treat every opinion equally. Listen to people who genuinely know you, care about you, and are honest enough to tell you the truth. Everyone else can have an opinion, but they don't automatically get control over your identity. And here's the biggest shift. Real confidence doesn't mean becoming someone who can never be hurt. That's impossible. Real confidence means being able to feel hurt without allowing that feeling to control your behavior. You can be angry without becoming cruel. You can disagree without becoming defensive. You can receive criticism without destroying your self-worth. And you can walk away from an argument without feeling like you've lost. So the next time someone says something that gets under your skin, don't immediately ask, why would they say that? Instead, pause and ask, why did those words affect me this much? Because sometimes, the most interesting person to understand isn't the person who offended you. It's you. And when you start understanding your own triggers, insecurities, reactions, and patterns, you gain something much more valuable than the ability to win an argument. You gain control over yourself. If you enjoyed this video and want to understand the hidden psychology behind human behavior, emotions, relationships, and the way our minds work, subscribe to Psychologist. Because here, we don't just observe what people do, we understand why they do it. See you in the next video.